I was born and raised in Oklahoma City, a family of musicians. Dad was a band leader, Mom was a singer. I always wanted to be a songwriter. That was my goal in life. It didn't happen. I had a good friend that had a mat in his garage, and we used to go there and work out. And I said, "Man, this is a pretty good sport." He joined the team the next year in the 9th grade, and I think I joined the team in the 10th grade. And that's how I got my start in a garage. The team I was on was a state champions twice, and I was one of 50 guys just trying to make the team, and I got a lot of experience with these guys.
Ron had a great work ethic. He was not the best wrestler on the team by any means, but he tried very, very hard, and he just loved wrestling, which has come through and shows in his character today, and the dedication he's had for his whole career towards wrestling. If I had to describe Ron in one word, that's what I would describe it as the great dedication to the sport of wrestling.
Everybody wants to be on a winner, and that was a winning team for sure. A lot of people quit, and I didn't quit. I stayed with it, and it helped me later in life. I'm seeing it sure did. When I got out of high school, I was really out of wrestling for years until I got lucky again. I saw the Amateur Wrestling News magazine at a dual meet, and I said, "What is this? A wrestling magazine?" And looked further and noticed there was an Oklahoma City address. So I went by there, and John and Jess Hoke were sitting there, and I introduced myself and said I was a big fan, and couldn't believe the magazine was here, and they said, "Well, yeah, we're here," and what happened was I had time back then because my job was I was just part-time, this and that, looking for something, looking for that, and this and that, and real estate and other jobs. But I had time, so I'd hang around the office. And before long, they got tired of looking at me. But what the good thing about the funny thing about that job, there was interviewing people to work with them, and it got down to a couple people. One was a guy up north, and it got down to interviews with me and him, and they started asking him a bunch of questions. They got that down to the last question. They said, "Now, what do you think about Myron Roderick?" And he said, "Who?" And of course, that got me the job. He didn't know who Myron Roderick was. Jess Hoke was a pioneer. He's a true Hall of Famer. I was just lucky to be side by side with him for 5 years, working next to him. Just a knowledge fan. I'm a Jess Hoke clone. I was just like him and learned from him, and glad I did. I've missed one NCAA tournament since 1977. I got to go to the Olympic Games in Atlanta. That was a big highlight. I think one of the things I remember about the sport is all the Bedlam Series matches in Stillwater and Norman. Back then, that dual meet was the premier event in the state each year. Of course, it's not any longer, but back then it was sold out, hard to get a ticket. It was just something to see. I learned from John Irving, write, rewrite, rewrite, and I do that. I spend hours on material trying to get it right, and then of course I have it checked and checked and checked. But I wasn't a writer from the beginning, and I had to work at it, and I have my own style. It's not the greatest, but I just keep my nose to the ground, and I keep writing, and I just like I say, I got my style, and that's what I use, and I'm fairly proud of it.
He has a very unique way of being a historian, but relating that history to current things.
I'd like to be remembered as being fair and honest, never going negative on the kids, and just lucky to be a part of this sport.
You know, when I was wrestling in Oklahoma, we were fortunate. We had a great team, Wayne Wells. We had actually 4 national champions on that team, from Jerry Stanley to Greg Ruth, and just a great team. Wayne Wells, and just a great team. And the only, nowadays you have Flow Wrestling, you have all the different media that covers wrestling, but back then only amateur wrestling really covered it. And Ron was just excellent. He knew the sport. He always made it look good. He was fair to everybody, and he just did a great job. And I think he's one of the reasons that amateur wrestling was the great media outlet that it was.
To be inducted in this Hall of Fame is just a great honor. Hard to believe that I got this far with my talents. All these other people in here, the singers, the Chapmans, the people I see, just wonderful. Been a great ride.